grateful to be here, and I want to thank Bill Fritz for asking me, giving me the privilege to speak to all of you. Can you all hear me in the back? Oh, good. Okay. Can I do this? So, and then all the wonderful people that put this on. And so, I was only going out for one drink. Yeah, haha, right? You know what I'm talking about. And I'd hired a 10-year-old babysitter for my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, and my 8-year-old. I left at 7 p.m. and I said, I'm going to go out for a few hours. I'll be back in a few hours. So my plan was to be back around 9 p.m. I got all dressed up in this gorgeous sequin gown, back when sequin gowns were in, I guess. Maybe they're coming back. And, the hair done, the makeup done, thinking I'm looking real good. And I only went out for that one drink. And guess what? I never came home that night. I didn't call. My alcoholism didn't care. And the next morning I woke up. I remember actually that night before driving, down the 101 and praying to God the prayer that I had prayed so many times. God, help me, and I promise if you get me there, I'll never drink again. Ha ha. So the next morning I woke up from what I now know is a blackout. And I looked over to the left of me, and who's that? I had a lot of who's that in the last years of my drinking. And I'm like, where am I? Oh my God, it's 10 a.m. So quickly found part of my clothing. The dress was full of throw up. Could only find one shoe. But I had to get out of there so quickly because of my shame. And I walked out the door, and I'll never forget, I'm running to my car. And to the right of me is this man picking up his newspaper in the driveway, looking at me like that shameful look. What? And I strolled in the door to see my 2, 5, and 8-year-old sitting on the couch with eyes like this. I was still drunk, and my ex-husband, soon to be, what I call him now, is my husband, that I hated, and I had to drink because of him, because it was all his fault. Of course. And seeing the look on those children's eyes, I wasn't that type of mom. I loved my kids more than I ever dreamed of. But all of you know, when the alcohol or the addiction gets a hold of us, it doesn't care. It doesn't care about anything. Not even my own children. But that wasn't enough. My ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, looked at me with that look in his eyes. He didn't say a word, but I knew exactly what those eyes said to me. Shook his head in that horrible disgust, bewilderment. And I know the look said to me, if you don't get your act together, these kids are mine. That still wasn't enough. But what was enough was when he said, okay, kids, let's go grab your stuff. We're going to my house. That wasn't enough. But it was until my 5-year-old looked at me and grabbed my knees like kids do. And he looked up at me. He said, "Mommy, are you okay?" And I looked down at him in those gorgeous blue eyes. And I said, for some reason, "No, Mommy's not okay." See, that whole year, I was trying to fake it, put the big smile on, pretend everything was good. And I was doing great. I had a beautiful home. I had, a year before that, a husband that woke up every single day, and before he went to work, said, "I love you." And he left with this wonderful, smiling, beautiful wife and mother. But he told me years later, when he'd come home, there was this crazy, screaming woman. Like, where did she go? Well, I had started drinking. Because the pressure of raising 3 small kids and all the pressures that society puts on us, and the secret that I was hiding from everybody, that I couldn't stop drinking. And then I'd put the kids in the car, and I didn't show up for things, and the excuses and the lies that I had to keep doing and saying to keep on drinking, because I had no other solution. And when I saw those big, beautiful eyes with that terror and confusion of that 5-year-old son, and when I said, "No, Mommy's not okay," he grabbed a hold of me, and his dad was pulling him out the door. He was screaming and crying, "Mommy, don't go." And see, they were up all night. There was chaos in the house because my best friend had come over, and they were calling the hospital and the police and calling some of my friends, "Have you seen Rosemary?" And, just the chaos that we create in our homes and our lives and the people that we love. And my best friend, who had been there for me for years, saw me labor these children and help me like no other. She also looked at me, shaking her head in disgust, and said, "You better get a hold of yourself." And what did I say? "What's wrong with you? I just had a couple drinks." She shook her head and left too. So when they all left, I can still remember to this day the look in my son's eyes. I don't ever want to forget that, because my alcoholism and addiction wants me to forget that. And the silence in the house was deafening. I was stuck in my own head, my own fear, my own self-hatred, and I had no way out. But my head said, what I now know is a higher power and a God in my life, said, "Go to the phone book." That was back when we had phone books. Oh, some of you are old as me. Good. And I looked up the word alcoholism. I had no idea what I was looking for, but I called this number, and this woman answered. And I said, "I can't stop drinking." And she said, "I get it." And she told me a little bit about her story. And she was a sober mom. And I thought, oh my God, I have something in common. There's one more mom out there that couldn't stop drinking? Wow, that makes 2 of us. Amazing. Because I thought I was the only one. And she said, "Meet me later tonight at this meeting." And so I walked in. It was a rainy November night, November 13th, 1999. And it was drizzling. I was starting to, the alcohol seeping out of my blood, the smell. And I walked into this place where there were other people laughing and loving on each other. And they said, welcome. And I thought, oh, these poor people. Maybe my codependency can stay here and help them. I didn't know I was a codependent. Thank God for a whole other program. And I didn't want anything to do with these people. I was better then. I didn't do that and that and that, looked for every way that my alcoholism could make me go drink. I did not have a desire to stop drinking. I had a desire to not lose my children and get out of the shame and guilt. Just that much hope. And I don't remember a thing that was said. But what I do remember is one thing. Somebody was reading something. And most of you will know what this is. And there was one line in it. There was all these things that they said that recovery would give me. All the things that alcoholism promised me, but lied to me about. And it said, and you will know peace. I can still take a deep breath and remember that feeling. Wow, peace. Kind of remember what it sounds like. I have no idea what it feels like now. And I know I wanted that. And so this woman said, there's this other meeting tomorrow. Why don't you meet me there? Here's my number. Oh, why would she give me her number? And so because I was a yes girl and I wanted to please and think I'm really good and great because I felt like shit, I did. I met her there. And this room was full of women. Again, laughing and hugging and loving on each other. And those women loved me until I could love myself. I had no idea what was going on in this place. But I remember walking out of there and I felt a little bit better. Wow, there's like 25 women that drank like me. And they no longer drink or drug? No way. But there was this woman that was helping out with a lot of books and pamphlets and things. I figured she must be in charge of this whole thing. She must know what to do. And so they said, really important part of not drinking is to ask for help. Ask for help? I don't need help. I got it all figured out. Why would I need help from you? Because I am helping everybody else. So I went over there and she said, why don't you meet me at this other meeting on Sunday? I'm like, wow, a lot of meetings going on here. And that room was filled with 300 people, laughing and hugging and loving on each other and clapping. I just said, oh my God, is this some kind of cult? Must be. They must want my money. They must have some Kool-Aid they want me to drink. But, again, I left there feeling a little bit better. And for whatever reason, and I know the reason, it wasn't me, but somehow I jumped in with 2 feet. And I started doing everything they told me to do. Because also, I'm a good girl. I follow your rules. And I really know that the grace of God carried me that first year. Because I had no plan other than okay, I'll do all these things that they tell me to do. And then in a year, I could do anything for a year. Just watch me. And at the end of the year, I'd have a big party and, pop the champagne. And I did it 1 year. Well, long story short, my life just kept getting better and better and better. And things started happening. That husband that I hated and I thought it was all his fault. Today, I love that man. Shocker. Shocker, shocker. And an even more beautiful thing is I love his wife that I hated. And someone told me to pray for her. Like, did you not just hear me? This woman is in my way and I can't prance in and out of that marriage anymore. And then one of the most beautiful things is they have 2 small children that call me Auntie Rosie. Right, I mean, and they have brought so much love and healing and help and laughter. And the women in these rooms taught me how to co-parent and look at my part and not keep adding fuel to the fire when he pissed me off because he wasn't doing what I wanted him to do. And they taught me to pause and pray for him too. These people are a little crazy. But I was willing to, I didn't get sober to be miserable. And my life kept getting better and better and more challenges. And they kept telling me to get on my knees and pray and all these crazy things. And see, my faith building started with doubt. That's how my faith grew and grew and grew and still continues to doubt. And in the hardest times in my life, that's when I've gotten closest to a higher power that today I know loves me, and cares for me, and is right in the core of me, and I feel safe and loved. And mainly I see it in all of your eyes. All of your eyes. I see it mainly in babies and dogs. I swear, they always look at me, and I feel like it's God saying, "Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary." And I say back, "Hi, God. Hi, God. You're watching me. Thank you. Thank you for this glorious life and the grace you've given me." I get choked up. I get choked up. Because guess what? Even though I'm almost 18 years sober by the grace of God and all the people like you, I still wake up every single day with chronic alcoholism that wants to kill me, take my children, and take the beautiful life that recovery has given me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, what else has recovery given me? This beautiful relationship with my children. I had a speaking engagement a little while ago, and they told me that one of the questions they were going to ask was, what has recovery meant to your children? And I had no idea. So I text them because, those kids don't call anymore. They don't listen to my voicemail because, God forbid, it'll take 30 seconds and then they'll have to make a phone call and just way too much time. So I know how to communicate to them. And I said, hey, I just need a quick answer. What has my sobriety meant to you? And my 2 favorite children got back to me. The third one I didn't hear from, and he's out of the will. Yeah, just kidding. And I want to just quickly tell you about this kid. He was that blue-eyed kid, that 5-year-old, that looked up at me and said, Mommy, are you okay? And when I said no, and this program and all of you people loved on me and held me for 6 fearful years of that kid's journey, or let's just say my journey, in watching this disease almost kill him. I remember being so pissed at God. Like, you know what? You can have the drink, and you can have the house, and you can have the men, and and you can have my credit cards and all my other addictions that I tried to help get rid of that feeling of less than, I'm not good enough. But none of those worked. But I'm said, you may not have my child. You may not have my child. So pissed off. Like, really? Really, God? Haven't I been through enough? Poor me. But guess what? I found women that have been there and done that. And they loved on me, and they hugged me, and they listened to me cry. They held me and said, it's going to be okay. And I was on my knees, begging, crying, curled up in the fetal position. Felt like my skin had been ripped off of me when I had to kick him out of the house at 17 years old because I followed suggestions that I didn't want to. And that beautiful, blue-eyed, now 24-year son came to me 6 months ago and said, Mom, I'm not okay. I need help. And guess what? 6 months before that, I decided to really let go. Really let go. Because all my things were not working. And what I realized, the only thing I had left to do, the only thing that I was in control of, not his addiction, but I was praying like hell. And I just would pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. And I'd ask you to pray and pray and pray and pray. And he's now 6 months sober. Woo, thank you, God. Thank you, all the people that have helped me and loved on me and said it's going to be okay, no matter what. You see, I always had this thing in the back of my head that if something happened to one of my kids or my heart shut down that was so blocked, and if my heart was hurt, even though I opened it up, then maybe I could have a little drink. But guess what? It was the farthest thing from my mind. Because I knew I had to be there. When he was ready, I suddenly started trusting God that maybe all my ideas, that he's going to end up in the Tenderloin, dead. I don't know, he's not there today. And so the miracle that recovery has given me is really beyond my wildest dreams. It's nothing like I thought it would be. Many times nothing like I wanted it to be. But God gave me this incredible life. And it keeps getting better and better, and sometimes hard and scary and like, what are you thinking again, God? And where are you? And it's always, God shows me. And I get closer and closer. And that faith keeps getting built on my doubt. Amazing. Like, this stuff doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. But this brain can't make sense out of a lot of things. I still need help. Again, I wake up every single day with chronic alcoholism. So recovery's giving me this relationship with my kids. Oh, back to the two things, those kids that are still in the well, as if there's much to give, you know. One said, Mom, you've been present for me. Wow, I didn't even know what that was. Present? Yeah, I was in the house, but I was screaming and yelling and drinking and driving drunk with my kids in the car. I didn't know back then what present meant. And the other one said, "You've given me stability." Really? What was that? What I know about that third one that didn't respond is that I walked the walk and I talked the talk. And he knew there was another way to live. That, I think, is the most important thing I was able to give my kid. That no matter what, there's a solution. And it does not matter how many times you fall down. It's how many times you get back up. And I'm going to love you and hug on you and cheer you on to get back up. That's what we do. That's all this I learned in recovery with beautiful, loving people like you. Because today I no longer hate myself. I no longer have any shame. I know I'm worthy. I know I'm more than good enough. I have friends that would be there 24/7, that have been there 24/7. In my career, I was in this sales career for many years before I got sober. How much time do I have? It is 15 minutes? Who's in charge here? Okay, Mary. 10:45, about 15 minutes. So much to say. So much to say, and I can't think what I was just going to say. Pardon me?
Sales career.
Oh, yeah. So it was perfect for, an alcoholic. Because guess what my job was before I got sober? Take people out to lunch and drink. I did so well in that career. So well. And I had been in recovery about 5 years, and I kept thinking, oh my God, do I have to keep doing this for the rest of my life? Okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, but really get me out of this. There's nothing in my soul. I don't love this. I don't connect to this, and you've got to have some better plan for me. I know you do. Will you show me, please? So guess what? The market crashed, and they closed my office. And I said, that was not what I had in mind. Scared to death. But guess what? The women in these rooms taught me how to save money. I've never saved money in my life. And that year I had put enough money away that I could take 6 months off and just see what God wanted me to do, to quiet down, to listen. Because the answers are always inside, as much as I fight them. You know, that thing that gets louder and louder and louder. And I went back to school, and I got certified to be a life coach. And oh my God, I fell in love with this career. Fell in love with it. And then my career, my plan of trying to raise 3 kids in an expensive place and in private schools, I didn't plan long enough to open my own business. But God came along and said, I've got more for you. Take this job for $16 an hour and drive a bus with a bunch of alcoholics and drug addicts. I'm like, who, me? Talk about being humbled. And guess what? That job was the best job I'd ever had. And I'd work more hours and loved it. Loved it. And I just kept trusting. And long story short, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then for years, this head of mine, and what I now know is God speaking to me, said, write a book, write a book, write a book. And I was like, I'm not an author. I don't know how to write. Who would listen to me? What a waste of time. I can't do that. And I went to this women's retreat full of alcoholic women. Love alcoholic and addicts. I love you all. Might not like you sometime, but I certainly love you all. And one of the things they asked us to do was to, if you had no fear, stand up and say what you would do. What a concept, no fear. The rooms of recovery. Tell me what to do with my fear. Tell it to F off and do it anyway. So I said out loud, I'd write a book. Cried, and I'd never said that out loud. And long story short, there was a woman that was there. She helped people do that. And I said, I just can't shut this head up. So I give up. So I started writing and blah, blah, blah. And I sent the proposal to 3 publishers. I had no idea what I was doing, because when the publisher called me, they said, it's great, good job. It's good that you have a website, but you didn't include your phone number, your email. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. And I really just sent the proposal because I just thought, I just want to say I did it and see I don't have to do it anymore. Long story short, when I got that call from the publisher that was only a dream for me, that only God could have orchestrated that, and they called and said, we can't believe it. In all these years, we've never even considered asking a sober mom to write a book for sober moms. And really, in writing that book, I just remember thinking, I didn't think it was going to be published. See, I was helping a lot of sober moms. And because of my codependency, my mentor said, okay, you can only have 3. Okay? Because you need time for yourself and blah, blah, blah. And so I kept saying, how can I help more women? Well, if I helped one mom get sober, stay sober, and recreate her whole life like I've done, like all the women in the rooms had done, then my work would be done. Then it would make sense. And that was quite a journey. And guess how it started, my writing? You guys told me to journal when I was mad and angry and what I wanted in my life, and, to dream and, just keep going. And that's what the book became. I don't know. It was just all my challenges and things I wanted. And life just keeps getting better. So I don't tell you that because, I think I'm all that. My ego, when it wants to think all that, I think, I remember who was in charge writing that book, because every time before I started writing, I said, God, make me a vehicle. I want it to be your words. Get me out of the way, and you do with this whatever you want to do with. And what I'm most proud of is, what I love the best is when women email me or come up to me, or maybe their family members say, thank you, that book helped me so much. And I was speaking at a treatment center, that treatment center that published my book, and a mom came up to me and she said, I just got here last night and I left my 1-year-old and my 2-year-old at home. And I was about to leave because I couldn't take, leaving my children. And so I went into the bookstore and I bought your book. And I stayed up all night reading it. And she said, you helped me realize that I wasn't alone. You gave me hope. And I gave her a big hug. And I said, thank you. My work is done. My work is done. Because that's what you all gave me. You gave me hope to sometimes just not drink one moment at a time. So my mission is, what I've been graced with, is to help as many sober moms that I possibly can. Because I'm really clear that that's my calling in life, and that I have a purpose in life. And so I do a lot of speaking and a lot of writing and anything I can do to get the mission out that us sober moms need more help than you can ever imagine. We need you to help take care of our kids. We need help when we have no idea what to do next. Please keep loving on us and hugging on us and cheering us on when the only thing that alcoholic head says every day to drink. And you tell me, and you promise me, and I can look in those other women's and mothers' eyes and say, I promise you, come along for this beautiful journey. And I'll be with you every step of the way. And I'll show you a life beyond your wildest dreams. And that, for me, is the greatest gift I've ever been given. I just can't believe that that's what I get to do. And I keep trying to find more ways to help more women, more mothers. I love you men, I love you, all you people out there, but mothers are my mission, because there's not enough treatment centers that will let us take our kids. There's not even many moms groups in recovery programs that will say, let's just get two moms together. Because only you two can relate to the guilt and the shame in a way that no other person can relate to the guilt and the shame that keeps us relapsing. The overwhelm and the guilt and the shame. We just can't take it sometimes. So we need funding, and we need anything you can do. Do you know, even in the program I work, there's not a pamphlet for moms. There are ones if you're in prison, if you're LGBTQ, now there are for women, but there's no specific thing related to moms. There are for men. I mean, on and on and on. How are you forgetting the moms? We brought all you into the world, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. And we still bear, statistics are out there, that we, even in this day, the working mom still takes care of 70% of child care responsibilities. Now, I know there are those beautiful men out there that do way more than that, because I know recovery's taught them how to be the most incredible dads. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But there's lack of everything for moms. So if you know a mom, if you are a mom, anything you can do. I have my books out there, and I don't make any money on it. I just want as many moms to get a hold of that book. It's not the only book out there, but it's one of only two. Yeah. I know, it's crazy. Crazy. So anyhow, thank you, all of you, for making me a little less crazy most of the time. Thank you. It's just the most beautiful life. So if you're feeling like you want to drink or use or pick up or all those things that kill us, just don't do it for one moment today. One moment. And one moment turns into 2 and 3 and whoa. I promise you, ask for help, take suggestions, and you will be giving a life beyond your wildest dreams. So again, I want to thank you, Bill. Thank you for all the wonderful people that put this on. And thank you, all people, for being here. I'm so blessed to live this life and live it with all of you. Loving, wonderful people that were hugging on me and loving on me till I could learn to love myself. Thank you.